Doesn't cost you any money. Doesn't make any sort of inconvenience. It is all good. All right. That said, let's get into the meat, because today is going to be a very informative walk and talk. We have been doing something that I usually do not do. We have been hitting the same topic over and over and over for the last couple of days when I'm on walk and talk anyway. And what that has been, by and large, is the hate that is being pushed at Donald Trump and his administration. The amount of, I don't know what you would say, tripwires, negative comments, ill will put towards our president-elect is at a level that I never even thought was capable. I mean, keep in mind, I know how the media works. I've always been a part of it for the last 7 years. I'm just beside myself. I'm just beside myself. With some of the things that are going on right now, I say, wait a second, do I live in the United States of America? Or do I live in some hate-filled land of no? Let's start off by getting into that hatred today, because we've been talking about this anti-Trump movement, and it has to be brought up again today because it's nonstop. Today on DennisMichaelLynch.com, we published a couple of articles, some of them late last night. I'm going to go over them here with you, give you a little analysis. First of all, this Representative Lewis, who just continues to double, triple, quadruple down on all the hatred that he has for a man who has done nothing bad to anyone. He hasn't done anything bad to anyone. And yet this Representative Lewis has spearheaded a movement of what is now 22, it may be as of now 23, Democrat representatives, people of Congress, who will not go to the inauguration of the President of the United States. The message that sends, not only here in the U.S., but throughout the world, is so indicative of how broken our country is, and how indicative of how it is that Barack Hussein Obama has taken race relations and hate and spread it like a horrible cancer. It's almost like President Barack Hussein Obama came here to the end of Long Island and stole one of the leaf blowers, thank goodness that we don't hear today, and just took hate and started blowing it. Blew it everywhere. And it's sprinkled on these people. And they can't shake it. They're not going to go to the inauguration. And this guy, this Lewis, who has basically been riding the coattails of Martin Luther King Jr. since 1963. Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream. He had a dream that we all were together. He had a dream that blacks would rise up and that whites and blacks would come together, and as a nation we'd be one. And the first black guy who gets into the presidency, what does he do? He takes a crowbar to that. Then you got this guy Lewis, still playing off his whole 1963, yeah, I was there. He is now taking a double-sized crowbar and just whacking and whacking and whacking and whacking at it. If Martin Luther King Jr. was alive today, based on the videos that I have seen and the research that I have done over the course of time on different reports on this man, he'd be freaking out, man. He'd be freaking out. In fact, he would have been one of the men invited to Trump Tower over the last couple of months. He would have walked out of that tower, got in front of that press and said, this man is going to enable the black community to finally be able to really rise to the level that we have all been dreaming about since the 1960s. But Lewis doesn't do that. Instead, he sees that his book sales on Amazon are going bananas. So he doubles and triples down. He tells Chuck Todd that it will be impossible for him to work with Trump. How do you say that? Where does that come from? I mean, you want to talk about Houdini pulling things out of thin air. Where is the basis of that? And then when he's asked about it, he says that Trump is not a legitimate president because the Russians hacked the presidency, and this is not a real election. What evidence, what proof, what absolutely concrete proof does this man have to sit there on national television over and over and over again? Zero. And so what it really is, and few people will say this, you won't even see Sean Hannity. As much as I think Sean's a swell guy, he won't ever say what I'm about to say. Nope. But I will. Lewis, like Obama, like Loretta Lynch, is an angry black person. They got anger deep inside. They got black anger. And that black anger takes control of them. And although they'll try at times to shake it and put on a facade, it has them on a tight hold. And so somebody on the other side has to pay for that anger. Somebody has to have the striking force hit them in the head. In this particular case, it's Donald J. Trump. There is no good reason for any of this hatred to be showered on Donald J. Trump. Zero. Absolutely zero. If there were a list of reasons, you know I'd bring them up. You know I would hold him accountable. Jogging in shorts, man. My dear, I gotta start doing that. You know I would hold him accountable. That's who I am. That's what I do. Even when you come kicking me in the shins for doing it, I'll still do it. But it comes down to this. President-elect Donald J. Trump has done nothing but shower, as far as I'm concerned, the truth. He has showered the truth on a nation that has lost its way, and in many cases has lost its soul. It no longer understands what it is that we stand for. Another sign of hate towards the Trumps. There is another group called Dear Ivanka. Ivanka Trump. Beautiful, smart, doesn't look for the headlines, just wants to be a good mom and a good businesswoman and a good human being and a good American. Yet what do they do to her? They're going to put a protest together to stand in front of her home. I'm not sure if it's the New York home that they're going to do this or the new DC home that she'll be moving into. But on the day that she's set to move, they're going to do protests in front of her home because she's moving to DC and because Donald J. Trump is her father. They are going to disturb this good woman and her husband and their children. Why? What did Ivanka do? What did Ivanka do aside from get on television and try to come up with plans for her dad to adhere to, or at least to set forward to try to make it so this way women can have more options when they have children and going back to work? What has she done? What has she done that is so evil? What has she done? If you can tell me the one thing that she's done to deserve any of that, I'll point it out. I'll put a flashlight on it and I'll hold it there until every last part of it is exposed. But the truth of the matter is, there is nothing. And it's all fueled by hate. hate that controls the left, hate that controls the progressive movement, which is nothing more than just a hate-filled agenda. You could move on. You could move on to the next horrible, terrible thing that they want to do. We just posted another video today. I watched this and I just held my head down and tried to remember when I saw conservatives or Republicans do anything remotely even close. Over the weekend, protesters had a coffin, not a coffin like you're dead in, a cough, I-N, held at a restaurant with Trump's name. People are in there trying to have a nice lunch on a weekend, right? Think about this. You worked all week. You're out trying to have a nice lunch on a sunny day. You're indoors. You think everything's going well. And then you've got 15 morons coming in holding signs about Obamacare and disrupting everybody in the restaurant by coughing and obnoxiously coughing really loud to disrupt in protest because you don't want Obamacare repealed. You know, Donald Trump didn't say, I'm going to repeal Obamacare and replace it with insurance programs that are only affordable to the very wealthy. No. In fact, yesterday, in an exclusive interview with the Washington Post, which I'm sort of confused on why it is that he picked them of all people, of all papers, Donald Trump said he vowed to replace Obamacare with an insurance program that would provide insurance to all Americans. Now, that's a little sexy. It's a little high flying. I don't know how he's going to do it, but he's going to probably find a way. May not be the perfect program, may be a little bit more expensive than we like, but it will definitely be cheaper than Obamacare. But nonetheless, whatever it turns out to be, and I'm not going to pretend to know, because he's holding the plan tight to his chest at this point anyway, but eventually it will be revealed. He's saying it out loud. I'm not going to leave you without insurance. I'm not going to leave you out in the cold. I remember when he was doing his whole stumping around the country and at all his rallies. He said, I do not believe in allowing people to just be thrown out into the street and die because they don't have insurance. So why are you disrupting something like a luncheon, coughing on people, coughing on their meals, just being totally disruptive to somebody and somebodies who have done nothing to you? That restaurant, considering it's in Manhattan, was probably filled with mostly Democrats. Why? And of course I'm speculating there, but I'm using the law of averages, the law of numbers. Why would you do that? Why in heaven's name would you walk in to people who have done nothing to you and start coughing on them in protest of an insurance plan that you haven't even heard of yet? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. All of this anti-Trump hate. Because it's become fashionable to stand up for something that is anti-Trump. It has become popular on the left to shower innocent people with hatred. It has become the calling card for the liberal left, the liberal media, the Democrats, all of them. The more you can hate President Trump, the more you shine in their eyes. You got somebody like Lynch. She's a real doozy. And man, I tell you, there's certain things that bother me more than others. I hate the idea that she shares my last name. She gave her last speech last night. And what did she do? She focused in on what she called was the wave of hatred in America. Meaning the wave of hatred towards blacks. It's unbelievable. the wave of intolerance and the wave of hatred. That's what she talked about. This is the Attorney General of the United States. Meanwhile, you got these freak Democrats, including Lewis, who say that they don't want Senator Jeff Sessions to be nominated, to be approved, confirmed as the Attorney General because he's not going to represent all people. Wow. Loretta Lynch gets up there and talks about her time in office and about how the blacks have to keep moving on beyond the wave of hatred, the wall of hatred that is put in front of them. And they're not going to put Jeff Sessions, they don't want to put Jeff Sessions in place, which, by the way, he will be confirmed. But the message is sent. Jeff Sessions is a hater. Jeff Sessions, a man who, when he was serving as attorney of his state, made every effort so this way a KKK member who killed a young black man at a 7-Eleven for no reason other than the fact that the man was black, he made sure that that man was put to death. Does that sound like a racist to you? Does that sound like somebody who's only going to defend whites and ignore blacks? You know, one of the issues is that these liberal media channels like Chuck Todd, like Matt Lauer, guys like them, girls like Rachel Maddow, they'd never put a guy like me on television with them because the things I'm presenting right now, there is no argument for it. There's no argument for it. They'd look like a deer in headlight. Come on, Rachel. Come up with an answer. What did Donald Trump do so far as president or president-elect that was hate-filled? Exactly. Zero. It's zero. So what do we do, DML? What do we do? I've thought about this. I've thought about this for a good part of the day. I've thought about how in heaven's name did we get to a place? Why are we at a place where so much hate is filled within every corner of this country? The media, the government, Black Lives Matter. Can you imagine that? Black Lives Matter. Look at the movement that Martin Luther King Jr. on his day that he started so long ago. All the progress that we've made over the past couple of decades and all the progress we've made over the last 100+ years. And then you've got Black Lives Matter, who just abuse, scream, yell, curse, and basically champion for nothing more than the hatred of whites and cops and anybody else who isn't black. And what they'll do is they'll come back and they'll use the argument that the cops treat blacks unfairly. Meanwhile, more whites are killed by cops than blacks. But facts don't matter. Only Black Lives Matter. Could you imagine Martin Luther King standing up and saying, Black Lives Matter? No. He would say all lives matter. But in today's day and age, if you say all lives matter, you're a racist, you get fired from your job. And that's where we've landed. That's where we've landed. So when you say, where is this going to go, DML? Why are we here? It is the moments of darkness, the deep, deep darkness where most light shines bright, right? The darker things get, the brighter they become when the darkness goes away. And so I think the only way you could have survived as a nation through President Barack Hussein Obama's 8 years of torture, as far as I'm concerned, torture financially, torture racially, torture from just ripping the laws that we have in this country apart. Hold on, I had to give acknowledgement. Thank you, God, for this glorious day. Once again, you've brought sun down onto my chubby, bread-filled face, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to these great people on the other side. Thank you. Do whatever you can to help us straighten this mess out, will you? Thank you. Okay, we're getting back, and I want to end on this. Donald Trump is probably the only guy I know that could have been elected to this presidency and taken the amount of hate that he has taken and still be able to operate strong. Let's not forget, as egotistical as the Donald can be at times, he's still a human being. He loves, he gives love, he tries to give opportunities to people. He's by and large a good man. He feels this stuff. You know, I often criticize him when he sends out what I believe is stupid tweets. But I think with that stupid tweet ordeal that he does, which has to stop, and maybe eventually it will, is because he's hurt inside. Remember yesterday, 2 days ago, we talked about me, somebody was disrespecting me. You know, the disrespect, it more connects to hurt. Like, how can you hurt me? In this case, your hurt comes through disrespect. A lot of people have told me that Trump and I are a lot alike. It's one of the reasons why I'm not sure we'd get along very well if we were hanging out in the same room. But we're a lot alike. And so these tweets, although they need to be controlled, I know where they come from. They don't come from a man who is unhinged. They don't come from a man who just is so stupid that he doesn't realize the fact that he shouldn't be sending something out. It comes from the heart. It comes from pain. It comes from the fact that probably at some point during his life, he was very nice to Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then Arnold turned around and kicked him in the shins. You know what I wanted to say. And so it hurt him. And so when you hurt him, he knows no other way but trying to hurt back. And he doesn't really want to hurt back. Donald Trump would rather give you a handshake, a kiss, and a hug. He'd rather hand you a check than hand you a termination slip. He'd rather send out a tweet of praise about you than a tweet of hate. And so that's what I think it is. It's his human side coming out. It's his side of saying, "Hey man, you hurt me, and I'm just trying to do the best job I possibly can for America, the American people, and the world." And so my message to anybody who has half a brain left on the left, put away the hate, man. Put away the hate. You know, give love a try. You'd be surprised how effective and how good love feels. You know, give the man a chance, knowing the fact that those of us who have been championing for him and cheering for him for so long will hold his feet to the fire if he turns out to be a bust. Okay? Just give the man a chance. That's all we're asking. We're asking you as a fellow American, just give the man a chance. That's it. All right, we move on. What do we move on to, DML? Well, I'm going to go in the opinion section here. Yesterday on DennisMichaelLynch.com, we posted an article about how it is that Donald Trump and his whole team are like, wait a second here. We're thinking this whole media thing could definitely be changed. Yeah, I mean, aside from the good guys like DML and other people like him who are pushing real hard to try to bring a more reasonable, honest approach to news and opinions, we've got to figure out a different way, because there's no question these media elite are not only going to change the narrative every single day. If I say potato, they're going to say potato. But you know what? We need to change the whole system here. We need to let little guys shine. We need to break up this Stargio club. Yeah. Where all the media elite hang out and nobody else is allowed in. Yeah. So he's like, and this is where it stems from. President-elect Donald J. Trump, man I'm very proud to have voted for, he held a press conference last week, as you know. The whole, you ready? I want to say dossier, but you want me to say dossier, because you want me to say dossier, because dossier is the correct way of saying what is spelled dossier. I don't care what it says. I'm just saying it's a fake document. So he had this whole press conference, and of course, he called CNN fake and the whole thing. Well, 500 people showed up to cover that press conference. 500 people. Usually you just get this little pool. And because Trump is who Trump is, and because the world is a-changing so rapidly, and because now we have, information at the touch of a button, they're like, wait a second, why don't we just expand this whole White House coverage altogether? Let's just make it so this way, if you want to come in and cover this, if you're legitimate, if you're a blogger, if you've really got a following, if you've got a small little news business, and you want to cover the news, you want to cover the briefings, come on in. Let's open this up. This way, the days of having just one false narrative up against Fox News, those days are over. Let's really make this a two-winged plane. We've got the lying media here and the truthful media here, and you can figure out which wing you want to sit on. Obviously, I'm being a little sarcastic, but you can have the left here and the right there, and let the chips fall where they may. But it's never been the case. The case has always been driven by the left, and the right's just been sitting there like, can I talk too? No more. Donald Trump's like, whoa, we're opening this up. We're going to get guys like Right Side in here. We're going to get guys like DML in here. We're going to get guys in here. And he just keeps on listing them down. And so now what he's doing is his team is talking about moving the daily press briefings from the West Wing into maybe a new building, or another building, I should say, right across the way, right next to the White House. That would accommodate a much greater press pool. And thus, information getting out to the American people cannot go through that little tiny filtered tube. Yeah. This, as far as I'm concerned, so far today, is the single most brilliant thing that Donald J. Trump has conjured up. It's smarter than the wall. It's smarter than anything else. It's the smartest thing conjured up. Because understand that the greatest amount of power there is the ability to convey a message. Think of it straight down. My two Facebook pages combined, I got 1.2 million people on or about. Your Facebook page, what do you got, 200 friends? 250 friends at most? Who has 250 friends? I don't even have 250. If I was having a party tomorrow, I don't think I could get past 20 people. So yeah, you want to put out a message to your friend list of 50 people, 100 people, 150 people, and I want to put a message out. Our messages are both the same. Who's going to be more effective at getting that message out? Of course, me. I have the numbers. You have a message out that differs from my message. Who's the bully? I am. Because if I don't want to put your message out, if I don't want to at least say, hey, look, I say potato, but Billy says potato. Let me give you the two-sided argument here for both. I have more people, but in fairness to Billy, I'm going to put him in too. That would be the fair journalistic thing to do. It's not what happens. I tell him, you take your potato and you go play with it. I'm going to say why it's potato and why anybody who says potato is a potato head. You get it? That was pretty good, Devo. I know. Stuff just flies in sometimes. I don't know where it comes from. Say, it's not that hot out. Note to self, start showering in the morning. Okay, it's not that cold out today. Mrs. Lynch overdressed me, man. Yeah, she's got all these long johns and everything. I'm sweating. So anyhow, I think this is the most brilliant thing that he can do and that he has done so far. Because if he does allow guys like me, and he does allow guys like Right Side, and he does allow people from smaller pockets, not just all from the right and from the left too, to go into a room that is right now designed for 49 people, he creates it so this way you get a 500. The amount of information, because information's power, the amount of information that will be conveyed will be on a level playing field, finally, on a level playing field. And therefore, the American people can really be informed. And they can figure out, based on the arguments given, whether it is potato or a mix of the two. And therefore, they can then cast a vote based on an educated mind that has information that says, hey, this is why I'm going to vote for potato. I used to vote for potato, but I voted for potato because they weren't telling me really why it should be potato. But now I'm getting that information. This, I gotta tell you, this is the number one component in making America great again. Yes, understand that. Coming from a guy who will tell you that the number one issue facing America has been and is immigration. Mass immigration and illegal immigration, because it touches so many different things. But this, what he's doing right now, is the first step, the biggest, largest step he can take in fixing all of it. All of it. Now, I have to tell this young woman here that I'm not a nut job. She sees me talking. Don't worry, I'm not a nut job. No? So only half the time.
It's hard to tell these days.
Yeah, you know what? Did you vote for Trump?
Everyone's talking.
Everybody's talking to themselves, right? Talking to myself, she's talking to herself. Have a great day. Notice now. See, you gotta notice the little things. She was coming out for a walk. Now I come by, and she's going back inside. See? She's gonna wait for me to clear out. Now, Representative Lewis, in the chance, and I think I got a better chance of winning the $1 billion lotto, that you would watch this broadcast, take your racial profiling and stick it up your toe. Do you see that? She sees a guy in sweatshirt. See, this is Richie Rich land. And so here I am, day unshaven. Hair looks like I just rolled out of bed, which I didn't. Actually, I slept on the couch last night because my daughter's sick. Slept on the couch, got up at 6, looked like I'm a disheveled mess. And because of that, because I don't look like somebody who would necessarily be in this neighborhood, because I just been talking to my phone like a nut job, that she thinks I'm a nut job. She went back in. She had her headphones all, I don't know if you saw that, but she had her headphones all ready to go. But she went back inside. It's not just, doesn't happen just to blacks, my friend. It happens to whites too. Okay? It happens to whites. Here's the difference. I'm not going to light my town on fire. I'm not going to burn down all the homes. I'm not going to make a sign that says white lives matter, or that grubby people matter, or that showerless people matter. No, I'm going to look at her and say, yeah, whatever floats your boat. Yeah. But if somebody comes by and goes to hurt her, she'll be looking at me and be like, hey, can you help me out? You look like you could fight pretty well. You're damn right I can. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. Love that movie. So anyway, my opinion is that the step in making the press a bigger pool with more access to the President of the United States, the White House that we own, is how it is that the problems in this country will be eventually fixed, because the narrative will be true. The real information of why you need a wall and why it is that illegal immigration has to stop and why it is that Obamacare is the mess that it is can now be conveyed, because it will no longer be a ratio of 100 to 1 when information goes out. It will be on equal plane. And that's that. DML, I love that explanation. I don't know if you're saying that or not. Because I can't read the messages on this new app, but I'm assuming you liked it. That's if I'm not spinning. Anyway, because I'm saying, I get a little sign, low bandwidth. Bandwidth is limited. Encoder may reduce frame rate or bit rate to compensate. That's all right. That's all right. I think it gets better in a couple seconds. All right, we move on. We move to the WAC. Amazing what we teach our kids today. And so I'm shifting my pockets here. My sweats don't have a tie, and so they're starting to fold down because I got too many things in my pockets. All right, now we got another two people here. We got a man and a walker and a woman who probably think I'm a little nutty too. That's okay, I'll be nice to them. Morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Have a great day. Anyhow, everybody's out celebrating Martha. That's not Martha. That's Martha. It's Martin. Sorry, man. Long Island accent. So anyway, this woman gets hired in November. She gets fired last week. Why? You ready for this? A kid in her class tweets to her using the school Twitter handle, meaning it gets sent to her on the Twitter handle at whatever the school Twitter handle is. It says, at whatever school, please cancel school tomorrow. Tomorrow spelt TAMARRAW. Okay? So she responds back, well, if then you wouldn't learn how to spell tomorrow. Now, not only is that hilarious, not only is it super accurate, but it's indicative of how terrible things are right now with our kids and learning. And I'm going to get into a little bit of that if I have enough time here today, about some of the things I've experienced with my own kids lately. So what do? They fire this woman. They fire her. They call her into the office. They hand her a letter. She gets a 4-minute meeting with whoever her boss is, and they say, you're fired. Meanwhile, the kids in the class are all launching petitions and tweets saying, what are you doing? Why are you fired? Because she publicly pointed out that this child can't find his or her buttocks when it comes to spelling tomorrow. Yeah, anybody who thinks that tomorrow is TAMARRAW needs 7 days of schooling as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Where's the whole Common Core kicking in there? President Obama. She gets fired. I don't know if you remember this. I know I do. When I was a kid, I went to Catholic school. I went to first 6 years school. Then my parents put me in Catholic school. When I went to Catholic school, If I would have spelled tomorrow Tamarraw, I think the nun would have taken my fingers and slammed them with a ruler. Now, I'm not saying that anybody should be hitting any kids, but wow, have we become a completely different country, to where when a child publicly spells a word making him or her look completely illiterate, that if a teacher responds back, is going to get fired. In addition to that, she was never ever explained to by the administration of this Maryland school district what is and what is not using the school's Twitter account. So really, they left this woman open for interpretation, and anybody who says that you're spelling tomorrow wrong should leave the and I'm correcting this child using social media, what I was here to teach in the first place. Anyway, you know, my kids, my daughter in college is on the dean's list. My son, almost at the dean's list, pretty high in all his stuff, although he give him as hard of a time, because he's not in the dean list like my daughter, but they're still, I think daughter Ash is in it. These kids, you ask them to write script, they can't do it. They struggle. I mean, you look at their script and it's non-existent. But you ask them to send out a tweet or a text or an Instagram and they're like, brrr. But my goodness, not being able to write your name in script, and I'm like, they teach you this stuff anymore? Nah. How do we not teach our kids script? And then, you know, they use they write up the stuff, you know, they use the computer, I read their papers, and I'm like, this whole thing is wrong. And what do you mean the whole thing's wrong? I'm like, after a period, you have to hit the space bar twice. No, Dad, that's not the deal anymore. What do you mean that's not the deal anymore? After a period, it's only one space. I said, no. There's one space between words, but two spaces between the end of a sentence and the start of a sentence. No, Dad, you're wrong. I'm wrong? We had a whole debate on this. Looking it up. Who changed that? Why did we change that? It's stupid. It doesn't look right to me. There should be more space. All this stuff. My son had a school project the other day. He had to write a essay about the Civil War. Now, this is my high school student, you know, and he's in advanced social studies. It's actually a college accredited class. And I'm like, Rye, what is with this thing, man? It's like there's signs of brilliance in here, but it's written ridiculous. You've got like 3 paragraphs in one. Oh no, that's the way we're being taught that it has to be done. It has to be done in this specific paragraph blocked sort of way. I said, wait a second, even if the message is lost? He's like, yeah, it's got to look like this. And he shows me what it is that it looks like. And I'm like, wait a second, they're more concerned about how it looks like than what it reads like? I said, no, you're changing this. You go back and you write this in the right style based on conveying a message to somebody about an important topic like the Civil War. You're going to do this with, Dad. I said, you come back with a 65, you pass in my grade. Now, I'll have a hard time selling that one to the college admissions people. But anyway, you get it. I don't understand. You know, our education system used to be something to be really, really proud of. Something that really gave kids an opportunity to really expand themselves intellectually, intelligently, all the different lees. And today, like the school's giving these kids out, they're giving them out all iPads. Like, wait a second. I understand that we are a technology-driven community and a world. But man, we gotta teach these kids more than which button to press. You know? We really do. I get depressed over this. I get really depressed over this because you and I hate to say it, but we're not the future, you know? We're somewhat yesterday with today. Tomorrow with these kids. And I understand that there's going to probably be a day where I'll just sit here and be like, I'm going to have Mary pick me up. I'm tired of walking. And I'll just probably type in the air, man, pick me up. And a message will be sent. And she'll get like a hologram and it'll be like, man, pick me up. But you still got to be able to spell it out. And even my son, as smart as he is, sometimes he'll look at words and he'll pronounce them wrong. And I'm like, what are they teaching you at school? You know what he'll come back and he'll say? Nothing. They're not teaching us anything. Nothing. They're teaching us stupid stuff. Social stuff. Not social studies. Social stuff. Transgender bathrooms. You know? But if you try to tell a kid how to spell tomorrow, you get fired. Ridiculous. I say we have a class where we sing tomorrow. Tomorrow, tomorrow, plus 4 days. Tomorrow, Obama will go away. Everybody in the class. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, plus 4 days, Obama goes away. One more time. Class. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, tomorrow, plus 4 days more. Now, if I were to sing that in the class, that would get me fired. Yeah. But, if you sang this, tomorrow, tomorrow, I hate you. Tomorrow, in 4 days more, we'll have Trump. We'll have Trump. That, they put me on the loudspeaker. Attention, skull. Attention, skull. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a special song called Tomorrow We Have Trump, where you may all bow your heads in sorrow, because tomorrow, hope and change goes away. Yeah, could you imagine? They'd be playing out one like that. Yeah, it's amazing how this has all worked out. All right, story time. I could see the end of the walk ahead. So last night, Miss Mary, beautiful woman I've been married to since I think I was 3 years old. It feels like that. Not a day fight, never a fight. Always greatness. She'd probably say the same thing. Mary and I have a routine. We both work so hard during the day. Me at the business, her, she helps with the business. She does all the kids stuff. She does all the other different stuff that moms do, wives do. So, I mean, what the toughest job in the world is being a mother. Woman never stops. Anyway, what we like to do is we like to just shut everything down at like 9:30, and we sit down and we like to watch like an hour of television together. And so what we do is we usually find shows, because there's nothing good on television anymore. There's no good movies anymore. It's all crap. And so we find now these shows on Netflix, on Showtime, you know, and sometimes we binge watch or whatever. And I mean, the great thing is that we're only started doing this now over the last, 6, 7 months, 8 months, maybe a year. Yeah, oh my God, time flies by. The last 2 years we've been doing it. And so a lot of these shows that have been around for a while, you know, we just start watching. And so now there's 5, 6 seasons, and we're watching it like lasts for months for us. And like, we're so happy. And sometimes we get so into it. We're like, oh, this is great. Well, one of the greatest series, I'll call it a TV series, that I have ever seen in my day, and And I'm talking about them all. You got back in the old day, Dallas, Knots Landing, all those Falcon Crest. Remember that one? Falcon Crest. I used to watch all those. Then, you had things like sitcoms like Friends and Seinfeld, right? And then you had all these other different hour shows like The Love Boat, all of these different things. Of all the shows, Sopranos used to be my favorite. But when Sopranos went, I really couldn't find that next show that I loved. And then I found Homeland. Now, for me, Homeland was great. And I think it's great because I'm a junkie, when it comes to Islamic terrorism and border security and national security and, governmental things. I love this stuff. It's amazing how life turns. All I used to care about was who won the football game. Now I don't even tune in. So, anyway, we watch Homeland. How remarkable. Edge of my seat all the time. And in so many cases, just so spot on. They really understood, the writers, Islamic terror, Islamic hate, what it takes to try to shut these guys down. And I understand some of it comes with some voodoo. How you doing? So anyway, should I ask them if they voted for Trump? Anyway, they look at me too like, oh, this guy's sweatshirt only cost $20. And meanwhile, they got jackets on like $9,000. So anyhow, last night was the start of season 6 for Homeland. I'm here to tell you that I no longer have that television show to watch. Oh my goodness, did they destroy it? Did they destroy it? They have gone completely politically correct. The main character on the program is this blonde-headed woman. She used to be part of the CIA, and so she's had her problems and like any drama, and now she's not part of it anymore. And instead of going after these sick bastards, Islamic terrorists, now they have her defending the poor Islamic terrorists who really aren't terrorists. They're just putting up things about blowing up places in America because it's freedom of speech. And now her life's work is defending these whack jobs. Mary and I sat there about 20 minutes into it. We've waited for this thing for more than a year. She's like, I'm not watching this anymore. Yeah, I've really made her thick-skinned with this stuff. I'm not watching this anymore. I'm turning this crap off. I said, let's stick to the end. Let's stick to the end. Then on top of that, they had another guy in the show named Quinn. My wife would have left me for Quinn. Quinn was a veteran and also, like a real spy operative. And she loved him. Well, at the end of last year, he goes into a coma. This year, he starts out of the coma, and they got this guy, more, demented than you could possibly imagine. And now they got him doing drugs and sleeping with prostitutes and just like all messed up. And they're bringing him into the VA, and they're making him look like the bad guy at the VA. Like the VA can't control him down. I swear to you, in addition to the fact that they really called this one wrong, and what do I mean by that? The show this season is taking place from Election Day to the inauguration. The whole season's going to be then. And that's because they're running the season, obviously, right around this time. Well, the writers were banking everything on a Hillary Clinton win because the president-elect is a female. Do you love watching these liberal boneheads get it wrong? Yeah, so their whole show has basically blown itself up. But even with the woman president, I could have bought that. I could have pretended, but it has gone so politically correct where this woman actually said last night on the show that her new work is to control or to help control how it is that the police are wrongfully identifying the Islamic community the people within the Islamic community who are giving reason, because they're posting stuff on websites and they're making videos about terror and they're praising terrorists and they're denouncing anybody Jewish. This is the show last night. I'm telling you, we sat there for an hour. We're gonna stop at this. You're gonna come pick me up. We stopped watching the show when it was over, and it's not one of those things you could binge. You gotta wait for next Sunday. I could tell you this, next Sunday I'm not gonna know what to watch, because I ain't watching football. Football's not getting me this year, man. Until they do something with Colin Kaepernick, until they do something that says we apologize for allowing this disrespectful behavior to take place and encouraging it, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not watching football, and I ain't watching Homeland. It just destroyed itself. PC, man, political correctness destroys everything. Destroys schools, destroys the government, destroys national security, destroys the job market, and now it even destroys one of the best television shows I ever watched. Shame. But it's all right, because we're going to wind up watching shows as well when we get our new place. Yep. So anyway, let me end on a couple things here. Very important, all right? For those of you who are still on, you probably have all this stuff. You got to get the app. If you haven't gotten the app yet, let me see if I can remember this stuff. If you have an Android, you got to go to play.google.com, get it, search for Dennis Michael Lynch, download it. If you are an iPhone person, go to the App Store and search for Dennis Michael Lynch at the App Store, download it. We have, I think we're in between that 15 to 20,000 person download thing, and all we've done is just mention it a couple times here on the Walk and Talks, done no advertising for it, no nothing. We're going to try to get that number well over $100,000. $100,000, yeah, sure, I wish. 100,000 people within the next couple of months. That'll make all the difference. So you got to do that. And that's that. One of the things I think now we're going to have to expedite, to be honest with you, is if Trump is going to expand the press corps, if you will, that could do the press briefings, I am going to have to get a DC office. So I may be coming back out to you for some donations. This is getting expensive real quick. Anyway, that being said, till tomorrow, lefties, try to curb the hate, will you? Because love is a wonderful thing. Yeah, it is. Till tomorrow, God bless you. God bless our troops. God bless the United States of America. God bless Donald J. Trump for sticking in there. Way to go, big guy. Thanks for watching. See you later. I can't turn this thing off. Why isn't it? How did this app work? Send me an email. wetrustdml@gmail.com. I have no choice but to... How do I do this? How do I stop this? The stop button doesn't work. Maybe if I go like that?